Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Thor of Thor News. I'm having severe computer problems, meaning I cannot get online no matter what I do. I can't reset my computer, so I was taught to do the best I can with what I have. So I'm going to show you guys a video that I made before I got bumped off a few days ago, and then I am going to show you how we have a storm coming up starting on the 30th. We have a storm coming up starting on the 30th. Um, that is going to last about a week. But first, I'd like to play the video that I was working on before I got knocked off, and hopefully the glare won't bother you too much.
Mandatory evacuations are underway for the small town of Craig, Missouri, as flooding from the Missouri River nears the city. Residents have been working nonstop for days to sandbag and do whatever it takes to keep the water out.
Just hours after the equinox is the rise of the third and last supermoon of 2019.
It takes a year for the Earth to orbit the Sun.
Well, there you have it. GO 16 capturing the exact moment the spring equinox occurred Wednesday evening. Now the northern hemisphere is in spring, the southern hemisphere is in fall.
Hello again, we'll look at the all-important weather forecast. It's in some ways kind of the perfect storm this year.
So much for the spring equinox.
For us, it's maple syrup season. Through this evening and overnight, all of the mist, the murk, the low cloud will just reform, a little bit of fog perhaps.
But turning out very wet again in the northwest highlands, the rain lasting here into Friday. The rain total's mounting here. Still raining in northwest Scotland, but this weather front starts to move across more of Scotland, Northern Ireland, reaching into parts of northwest England, North Wales later in the day.
The mysterious November 11th deep rumblings that began near the Madagascar adjacent island of Mayotte and traveled around the world while going unnoticed by humans may have finally been explained. The event was caused by what may have been the largest underwater volcanic event ever. Nonetheless, it's been proposed that amount of magma moving around was immense and resulted in the deflation of the seafloor. Other studies have cited magma activity as a potential cause as well, which points to magma shift occurring miles beneath the seafloor.
As the wet season comes to a close in California, there doesn't seem to be an actual end in sight. More storms are headed toward the west coast. The last few months have been so wet.
I want to bring in the director of Nebraska Department of Transportation, Kyle Schneeweiss. And Mr. Schneeweiss, lots of problems still remain across your state with roadways. Can you give us a little update on how we're doing?
Sure, Bernie. Thanks for having me. We're making lots of progress. You mentioned 500 miles. We actually, as of yesterday evening, we were down under 375 miles. Still closed, which is a big number, of course, but compared to 1,500 where we started, quite a lot of progress. And as the waters have receded, we've really had to do a lot of work to get the debris cleared and get those inspections in place. And then if the roadways and the bridges are safe, go ahead and get those roads open. And of course, we're learning that many of the roads are going to need some longer term repairs before we can do that.
The bridges, do you have a number about how many of the bridges either have been compromised or bridges that actually have to be replaced?
So that number fluctuates, as you can expect, as the water goes down and we inspect. But right now we're estimating we've got 15 bridges that we know of.
Happens when you leave your when you leave your car doors open in a vineyard. Koalas jump into your car, and your dog's really curious, so we're going to go let him go. Oh, that's sweet. And I'm going to try to get the little guy out of my car, but he just does not want to come out. Come on, mate.
The koala looks scared, dude. The animals know something.
Can I get you to come out of my car, please?
Well, typically there will be a considerable amount of debris that is washed into the field areas, and so that needs to be removed. There could be contamination from many different possible sources, and then typically also there's erosion that's taken place because of the up a disaster relief fund. People can go on the Nebraska Farm Bureau website and contribute to that. 100% of that money is going out to help farmers, ranchers, and rural communities deal with the immediate needs of food, water, and feed for livestock.
More concerns for today with the flooding as the flood watches go up through this evening. You get DC bolts. Hollis, Altus, Wichita Falls.
Sorry, that's late shit. Wait, what?
Dallas, south to the Texas coastline. And again, winds here could exceed 50, if not even 60 miles per hour. The rain will be heavy, and there can be widespread lightning as well. We'll spread the heavier rains up the 95 corridor.
All right, so I guess I'll end that one there since that was later. But I'm just doing the best I can. I want to say thank you to Patricia, Diane, and John for the contributions you sent in yesterday. And a super thanks to Chris. Chris says he's got another laptop on the way for me because this one will not get online. No matter what I do, I can't reset it. I can't do anything. Hello in Louisiana. And so the bad news I wanted to share with you guys was that just by looking at the data on my phone, it looks like we got a storm coming on the 30th that is going to last for about 7 days. So this is going to be one of those systems where this is just the next 48 hours as you get more storms moving to California. But there is the end of the system. And then this system starts around the 29th. And then it lasts, these frames are a little out of order, but it lasts from the 29th to the 6th of April. Man, I'm just hanging in there. All I know how to do is fight, or not fight, but do what I do. And so, it has been a super uphill battle, especially the last year and a half, increasingly. And so I just using what tools I have at my disposal at the moment to bring you guys the information because, well, thank you very much, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah, I'm doing what I can to let you guys know that, the media isn't really talking about how bad the situation is, and it's great to be here. And I don't know, free speech seems to be getting rarer and rarer every day. The technocrats seem to have a firm grasp on whatever they want to. If what we're looking at here is, like I said, this storm is going to take place from the 29th through the 7th or 8th, and it's going to wrap from Texas through Louisiana, Arkansas, and it's just going to keep going. And most of the reports I've seen have said that the precipitation over the next 3 months is going to be anywhere near 200 to 300% of normal. And so I'm not really surprised that I'm having as much trouble as I am, because I'm the only one really who's saying that we need to put our political differences aside and work together as Americans before we get caught under tow. No, Jason, you're right. I'm not the only one with bad luck, but as I've talked about, I'm the only one for 2 years who's been saying we're going to see volcanoes happening in California. And if you watch, when I ran into real troubles when Hawaii grew by the Kailua volcano, we knew that. But when I ran into real troubles, when I pulled all the Popocatépetl volcano footage from, it goes back to it started in December, and then it started in December, and it's now March, and it had a giant eruption. Thank you. Why is the light on here? I turn it off. I had a giant eruption the other day. I just read. I was reading Nostradamus last night. Thank God I bought reading glasses. before all this shit happened. But I was reading Nostradamus last night, and he said that the Antichrist was going to rule for like 25 years, and shitty was going to be real shitty, and then everybody's going to hate each other. And then he said there would be 1,000 years of peace. And so I don't know how everybody reads the Bible and then skips over the part where he says we're going to have 1,000 years of peace. And so, I've been reading the book of Revelation since I was like 13 years old. I used to buy every copy of it I could find. And the fact is that, like, everybody focuses on the Antichrist, but nobody's focused on the second coming. And so I've always taught to prepare the way for the 1,000 years of peace. So you don't focus on like the Antichrist. There are lots of them. You focus on the return of good. There is no second coming. Well, then that means we are the second coming. And so, I don't agree with the people who are like, we're all going to die. We're doomed. We're here to fail. Everybody went and got a college education just so we could fail. And so, man, that's why, that's what Asteroid Fight Club is. Are you going to lay down and just let them run over you? Or are you going to get up to the golden age and celebrate when we get things better? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, we are all in this together, and that the only way we can handle it is together. And so, I don't know. I said 2 years ago that you're not going to see Trump impeached and you're not going to see Hillary Clinton in jail. And that was another one of the 100 predictions I've made that have come totally true. And so the only thing we can do is to unite. And so, it's getting pretty dicey. Now, I'm hoping that after the Mueller report came out, and that was a 2-year. What up, C. Smith? Thank you very much, sir. And yeah. Hopefully, I will be back up to normal. And then I got to prevent, because that's another thing. Like, I'm going to run for president, but it's mainly out of defense. Like, I don't ever expect to win, and I'm not going to run against anybody. But that way I can be like, hey, guess what? Whoa, thank you, High Ground. Us, Kenobi. Kick ass. And so I'll have to, I got a few other things I may try to do with this computer. But what I'm saying is that, like, I don't know, yeah, I'm going to run for president. That way I can contact the FBI, I can contact the CIA, I can contact the local law enforcement and basically say, hey, dude, I just want to run for president and people are trying to obstruct me from running. And so it's mainly like, it allows me to enter the discussion because the only thing people want to talk about. I like line 6. Since I'm not a traditional guitar player, I like to have an amp that has the effects built in. I've never had a pedal. Never had pedals. So the line 6 has always been, it's pretty much been every single amp I've ever used. And you're pretty amazing, dude. I'm just saying that, like, that's gonna be one of the things is that, well, no, but what I'm saying is, out of all the things that I've talked about is that fiat currencies, which the dollar is a fiat currency, they have a 43-year shelf life on average. That the 33 fiat currencies throughout the history of mankind have all exploded in like a 7-day loosening of the currency. And that they even said in like 1984 or 1988 that the dollar would probably be exploding in 2018 and we would need the quote unquote Phoenix currency. It was on the cover of The Economist. And so the US dollar is on what, year 46 of a fiat currency, and we're at 22 trillion. And the people forget about Brexit was that, like, Greece almost defaulted 3 times. Italy is almost always in default. Like, the whole EU continues to have like a round robin as far as who's about to default next. And so the major fiat currencies of the world have major problems that are not solved ahead of time. That you can't put the cat back in the bag. And so, I'm hoping that Trump will head more to the center, because I think in times like today, it would be better to not change. And hopefully, we can all start to focus on infrastructure and building new cities and preparing for this shit. But I don't know. Like right now, like I said, I'm having major problems. The media is doing everything they can to distract you from, the real things that are important. I haven't been as typed in, but Nebraska, Missouri, South Dakota, it was sounding like they were in like Harvey situations. And that on the comments I'm getting people from Nebraska saying, why aren't there more people who are helping us or paying attention or, doing what they can? Because we've got a real desperate situation here. And so I know today I read on Twitter that one of the girls from the Parkland shooting had committed suicide, which is extremely sad. But it just seems, and I wish that hadn't happened. Wish no shooting had happened. The Muslim shooting, which was horrible in New Zealand. But it's like the media will spend days and days talking about anything involving guns, where anybody who knows anything knows that they can't take your guns away, because it would take. And remember, last 20 years I've gone around and talked to everybody. I mean, I've talked to soldiers, police, FBI, like you name it. And to go door to door to take people's guns away, you would need 6 to 7 soldiers per house. And if you even asked soldiers to go house to house to take away people's guns, you'd lose half your soldiers the second you did that. So the whole thing about guns is that, they're never going to take away your guns. They can't. They might ban selling assault rifles, but the whole, I don't know, that's just they're doing what they can to scare you guys at a time where we really need to. Oh, that works. Chris, all I ever use is like delay and chorus. Wait, yeah, is that right? Yeah, but delay is my thing. Dude, seriously, how did you get so awesome? But and another thing, when people talk about when and if the middle of the United States falls in on the Edgar Cayce maps, it's a matter of, will it be while a lot of the really rich people are at war with each other? Because that's what it's so, a lot of times it's frustrating, because people assume that, like, quote unquote, the Illuminati or whoever are totally unified. And no matter what, they are best friends and they're doing everything together. It's not like that, dude. It is a schism all over. Do you really think Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos are best buddies and are going to do whatever they can do to make sure that the supervillain? I'm not saying either one of those dudes are evil. I'm just saying, like to think that these people who have never really had to answer to anyone are all going to work together really great. That's kind of ridiculous to me. Anyway, so yeah, I'm doing what I can to hang in there. Even though it doesn't seem wise, it seems like I'm going to have a lot of. Yeah, but the whole thing is, what I've been saying for a while is that when, like, if they take us out or if they kick the shit out of us, and then they're going to turn on each other. It's like, that's it's a power vacuum. So, they right now, sure, yeah, and it's like one thing I was explaining is, at this time in capitalism, it's never been easier to make millions or billions of dollars. And it's even with the hackers. Like, the hackers are stealing more than ever before. I've gotten reports that some of the criminals that usually, the criminal gangs and stuff, how they usually didn't take as much. Like, everybody's taking more than they used to, because there is no plan in place. And so, like, we're running out of time to put a plan in place. But I'm hoping after this Mercury retrograde calms down, that things will start to smooth out. I don't know. This has been the wonkiest Mercury retrograde ever. Uh-oh. So I'm having problems. Okay. So I will be back, but I'm going to do something more fun than this. I just want to say thank you guys. I love you guys. And if you can, now would be a great time to support Thor News as I hang in there and I will do what I can with the tools that I have. I love you guys. Thank you.